bucket number one, or tenet number one, is what I call DNA alterations.
Mhm.
So in the DNA category, we talk about things like telomere length. Everyone knows about the direct relationship between the length of your telomeres and the length of your life and your cells, et cetera. We talk about epigenetic modification. We don't have all the answers in that category yet, but we know it's pretty darn important. And we know things that are positive epigenetic modifiers and some things that are negatively affecting us. And I also put DNA protection in this category, which is a little bit new. I've stumbled upon a few agents that do a really good job of protecting your DNA sort of against the world. So that is tenet number one. Tenet number two has to do with energy production. There are some people that think all of longevity is mitochondrial failure, right?
Yep.
I'm sure you've heard all of these people speaking.
I have. I'm very familiar with it.
Right? And our mitochondria fail for many reasons. The big one, right? Nicotinamide deficiency. We all know about that one. We talk about antioxidants, our endogenous free radical scavengers fail over time, all of these things, right? Oxygen toxicity, blah, 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 blah. All that falls into the mitochondrial category. And the good news is if we know it's happening, frequently we can do a lot to stop it. Category 3 is what I call pathways. There are innumerable aging pathways, but in my world, the big 3 are the sirtuins, right?
Yes.
We have 7 mammalian sirtuins, and we have the AMP kinase pathway, which people love to tinker with because that's why restriction diets is very helpful, or the caloric restriction diet specifically. And then, of course, the mTOR pathway. And there's a whole lot of screaming and yelling right now about benefits of rapamycin. And that has its place, right? People worried about doses and that and the other. I'm at the moment an anti-rapper, but that's a whole nother category. 4 is quality control. So this is, if you think of a company, right, you're making products and cells make products, protein, copying DNA, et cetera. And this is your quality division. So this is DNA repair mechanisms. This is protein repair mechanisms. And it's also autophagy. Because if you need to recycle your organelles, you have to check them, make sure they're good. You take the ones that aren't working, take the pieces and parts and create a new organelle, right? So we talk about regular autophagy and mitophagy and all that sort of thing. And there are obviously certain agents that do incredibly well in this category. 5 is your security system. This is your immune system, helps you when you're young, destroys you when you are old. We all have failing immune systems, right? Because all these old people are getting the vaccine for COVID and it's not working. It's because their immune system is failing. It's pretty simple stuff. The other thing is that your inflammatory system gets out of whack over the course of time. So we all become systemically inflamed. Leads to cancer, more DNA damage, blah, 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 blah. So that's bad and we need to fix it. Category 6 is what I call the individual cell requirements. And this is where we throw in things like specific stem cells or senolytic cells. And then specific cells that you already sort of have in your body that you need to keep healthy. For example, a red cell has different requirements than a brain cell. Some are static, some are mobile, some are short-lived, some are long-lived. So addressing specific requirements in this category is quite important. Lastly, as the mafia says, you have to take out the trash. So waste management is category 7. And this is mostly glucose issues, right? So we talk about glycation, AGEs, et cetera. And this is one of my big categories. I'm a glucose addict, so I go through horrific strategies to try to get rid of all the glucose that I intake. And this is also the category of lipofuscin, because every time a cell undergoes some form of autophagy, a little piece is left in the cell, gets crammed in the back, you get lipofuscin accumulations, and this is a huge issue in cells that don't turn over, specifically your brain. Anyway, so those are, in a very, very small nutshell, the 7 tenets of aging.